Hey guys, happy Friday! You guys made it! Are you ready? Here we go. Nothing's happening. Why? Here we go. Ready?
Have you ever felt like you just couldn't be yourself? It could be easier if you were someone else. Is there a voice inside your mind that reminds you all the time?
Looking out my window.
Broken? Has it left you hopeless? It can be a hard thing just
Being alive.
It can be a dark thing when you're trying to hide. Every story, every scar, you love the way you are. There's nothing you need to prove, 'cause heaven knows your name. There's a reason you were made. Fearfully and wonderfully, you. Has anybody told you that you'd never be enough? Has anybody told you that you'd never measure up? Are you just trying to escape, trying to run from all the pain of being human? Can you make it through it? Every story, every scar, you love the way you are. There's nothing you need to prove, 'cause heaven knows your name. There's a reason you were made. Fearfully and wonderfully, you. Fearfully and wonderfully, you.
I'm out of. Don't give up.
He's not giving up on
Not giving up on
you.
you.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
He's not giving up on you. Not giving up on you. It can be a hard thing.
Just being alive. It can be a dark thing.
Trying to hide. Every story, every scar, you love the way you are. There's nothing you need to prove, 'cause heaven knows your name. There's a reason.
Yes, yes.
Fearfully and wonderfully, you. Fearfully and wonderfully, Don't give up.
Don't give up.
He's not
Giving up on you. Not giving up on you. Oh, you guys. That was fire. That was fire. You know, it's not one of our many talented Black authors, right? But, you know, I come to represent my people, right? Doesn't matter your nationality, doesn't matter your gender, doesn't matter your skin tone, doesn't matter where you come from, Doesn't matter where you are in your life right now. If you guys follow my YouTube page, right? I told you guys that I have a professional, I'm sorry, not my YouTube page. This is my YouTube page. I'm there. I'm there. Um, my professional Facebook page. If you guys follow my professional Facebook page, Jonniebee Hopkins author, right? I did a skit on my Facebook page earlier today regarding some media aspect of the, I'm trying to choose my words carefully, guys, and sometimes I have to slow that brain down, kind of like push it back a little. So the focus, right, in the media, whether it's news, social media, the headlines surrounding politics, right? So I did a skit on my professional Facebook page, Jonniebee Hopkins author, about what was circulating in the news and social media about those two key players in politics today. And in that post that I posted to my Facebook page, I stated, like, mental health diseases do not discriminate. They do not discriminate. I don't care your nationality, where you come from, your skin color, your education level, your title, your degrees, your money. My primary focus is the mental health disease aspect, okay? I hope you guys, like, if you have not yet visited my professional Facebook page, Jonniebee Hopkins author, right? Go there and take a look at what I posted earlier today about what the media is focusing on in regards to politics and the two key players that everyone is like focused and centered around, right? Just to give people a different perspective. Anyway, it's Friday. For those who work and have the weekend off, you made it. For those who have more than one job, right? Some of us have more than one job. Some people have the weekends off. Some people don't. And then there are some of us who are in between jobs or even not even working at all. You know, maybe you have your diagnosis and your mental health disease has disabled you, right? You're on state funding, and that's okay. I do not judge. I get it. I may end up going there one day myself, right? I just try to stay as well and as active as I can. Right now, my disease is very well managed with my treatment and the meds that I'm on, right? But I still have symptoms. I mean, right before I came onto YouTube, I started having some anxiety, right? And like I said, there were days I'd come home from work and just cry. I would just cry. It's not easy when you have a mental health disease and you choose to still work, right? Some days jobs can be very challenging to my mental health disease. And actually lately, some things happened before I was let go from my job that had nothing to do with why they let me go from my job. But prior to that happening, I posted videos. You guys seen, I had to take a mental health day off. Some stuff happened at work. It really challenged my mental health disease. My boss, or the manager of my house, had offered me to take the day off, and she would work my shift for me. That was one week. I think the following week as well, something else happened and I had to take another mental health day off. I've been at the company for 5 years, and, I've been doing well, but it hasn't been easy. And there were days, like I said, my mental health was challenged, right? But I kept going. I kept pushing through. I Like I said, when the doctors presented to me about taking me out of work and putting me on disability, maybe out of fear, the whole process of applying for Social Security disability, they don't make it easy. And I just feel like I'd rather work than have to go through that. So I keep pushing. Maybe there will come a time when I will have to revisit that option. I have been revisiting that conversation with my provider, who also pushes me to keep going. It's tough when you have a mental health disease and you're trying to prove to people that you actually have a mental health disease. Like, why do I have to prove anything? My medical records show that I have a diagnosis, that I've had my diagnosis probably since my 20s, that I've been on meds for like 30, 40 years now. Like, what is there to prove? There were times I was in the middle of a mental health crisis and I had to run to providers during those scary moments. So, for them to make it so difficult for you to be approved for a Social Security disability, it's like, what the heck? We live in a crazy world, guys. It's so crazy. Anyway, real quick. So yesterday's video originally did get blocked because of the choice of artist and song title that I used, which was Boys to Men, Color of Love. My video got blocked worldwide. I went into my original programming where I pre-recorded the show and had to clip off the first piece of it and then resubmit it to YouTube, and it got cleared and it got posted. Meanwhile, YouTube took the original video and clipped out the music part of it for me and then reposted it. So there was 2 videos of the same thing from yesterday. Sometimes that happens, right? I'm not perfect at this. I am doing this of my own free will. I am doing this of my own free time. Like, it's not a paid service. So yeah, I mean, I run into complications with posting my videos sometimes because of the music choice, but at least you guys got the video, right? The original one was better. I was so disappointed when YouTube couldn't post it because of the copyright restrictions. Because the beginning piece, right? I wanted to say thank you to some people. The recording, the pre-recording went so nicely. How I introduced and opened up, acknowledging some people who have purchased my book, who continues to purchase my book, who has stepped up and supported me and loved me through this whole process and guided me. So when the original video got blocked and I had to edit it, I had to clip off that whole first section. And I was really bummed out about it, but I was like, hey, I'm going to give you guys what I have here, right? And then YouTube turned around and did their own clipping of my video where they were able to leave my opening attached to the video, and they cut it from the middle just where the music part was. I was trying to figure out how to do that, and I couldn't figure it out, and YouTube did it for me, so kudos to YouTube, right? Um, it is Friday, October 6th. It's a beautiful day outside, guys. For those who are stopping by for the first time, welcome. For those who have been coming and keep coming back, welcome. And thank you to every one of you that show up, hear what I have to say, and support me by just being here. You guys don't know what that means to me. I am truly passionate about the service that I'm offering. Um, I just feel like the services that I offer, right, will be more welcomed and more received from people of my, and I am going to say color in this matter. I mean, all are welcomed. I don't care of your color of your skin, your age, your size, your knowledge. I don't care about any of that. I want everybody to get the help and the services, but my targeted audience is people of my color because of the background that we have in those neighborhoods that we come from, where there is so many myths and so much misinformation about mental health diseases. People of my color tend to not get the help that they need because of these myths and this misinformation that they have. I am hoping to be able to break through some of those barriers by, showing up publicly, talking about my journey with my mental health disease in the hopes that people of my color, my background, like they can feel more comfortable and hopefully have more acceptance to the information surrounding mental health diseases. Like they'll get it, they'll receive it, and they'll, start identifying some stuff, because a lot of my people are still suffering and still dying and still living their lives like in insanity because of the mental health disease aspect that they don't even acknowledge. You mention psychiatrists to my people, they'd be like, I ain't crazy. The myths, the misinformation. Or how about another word, right, to go with misinformation, is not educated well enough surrounding not just mental health disease, but a lot of my people fall short educational wise in so many ways. So many ways. And I don't really want to say outsiders. I myself do not consider anyone to be an outsider, but people from my community, within my community, will not feel comfortable with people that are not the same skin color, have no idea about what it's like growing up in our communities. The list just goes on and on. So, although I'm here to guide, support, teach, love everybody, other people are more acceptable to the information, to the knowledge, to the wisdom surrounding mental health diseases, and a lot of people just aren't there yet. And so that's why I show up. I want to be that person between the doctors and between the patients, right? Advocating for some people, giving them the real knowledge, the real information, breaking some of those barriers, so that I can help get them closer to the doctors to get the help that they need. And not everybody wants the help, right? Some people They really don't trust doctors, especially when it comes to the mind. For me, I rather trust the doctors than just be out there suffering. I mean, I've been being treated for my mental health disease for 20, 30 years. And, you know, my people, some of them like to think I'm crazy. But when I look at their life and I look at my life, I just be like, I'll be crazy. I'll be crazy. But at least my lifestyle, it's not the best of lifestyles, but I'm not suffering anymore. And that's the most important part. Like, my mind is calm, my spirit is calm. With the help of treatment and meds for my mental health disease, because I know without my meds, we don't want to go there, right? So anyway, guys, I wanted to play the song right away in case I do end up having to clip off the first piece because of the choice of song selection and title, right? Without you guys losing the information. So the name of that song that I played for you guys, I'm going to give you that information in case we do have to clip it off. You will at least have the song of choice for today, where you can look it up and listen to it, okay? That was called, well, the artist is Apollo, L as in Larry, T as in Thomas, D as in David. Apollo Ltd U. And I felt like that song was appropriate for today's session, right? Because in that song, he talks about, people telling you you're not good enough. He talks about hiding in those dark places. He tries to encourage people by telling them, like, your higher power made you fearfully and wonderfully you. And I say that because, again, I share with you guys how a lot of people who either don't have a mental health disease, or maybe they're just not in touch with that mental health disease aspect, but they like to judge people with mental health diseases. They see us in a different light. And again, for years I suffered in silence. For years I did not feel good about myself because I had the mental health disease. And society shaped and formed how I seen myself, how I felt about myself. And it took years for me to realize that even with my mental health disease, I'm still a person. I'm still somebody, and nobody is perfect. We all have our flaws. Maybe they don't have the mental health aspect, but maybe they have some physical aspects. Nobody is perfect. So I just want to encourage people, right, that it doesn't matter that you have a mental health disease, right? Our mental health disease is not all of us. We're still human. There's other parts to us. And no matter what the world makes you believe about yourself, right? I'm here to guide you into how to tune out of what the world says about you and tune into more of what your higher power says about you. You're fearful, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're talented. Mental health diseases does not define who we are, right? It's not all of us. It's not every part of me. It's a huge part of me. But there are other things to me besides my mental health disease, and that's the stuff that I want people to see. Okay, guys? So, being that it is Friday, October 6th, it's the last day of the week. We're going to review what we went over this week, and we're going to close out this week's session. I will design, plan, and write my scripts for what we're going to work on when we come back on Monday. Okay? Um, all my books, guys. I'm telling you, I have tons of books. How was you guys' day? I didn't even check in with you guys. I just jumped in and started talking, huh? How was you guys' day? Everybody feeling okay? Again, it's okay if you're not. Life is full of good days and bad days, right? If you had a tough day, right? If you struggled through some parts of your day, if you may be in a dark place while you're sitting here watching this video, please reach out to somebody. It doesn't matter what you think they might feel about you. It doesn't matter if what you think, how they feel about you turns out to be true, right? Maybe they do really feel that way about you, right? But the most important thing, darling, is you. Please don't sit in no dark places. You know, if you happen to call one person and that person doesn't give you what you need, call somebody else. Make them listen. Make them listen. And if none of that works, right? We talked about this, your higher power, right? Building that relationship with your higher power and growing into your relationship with your higher power. I told you guys when the pandemic came out, right? And the world got shut down and we were not even able to have visitors with family members that did not live inside your home. I live alone. There was nobody, right? I had no choice but go to my higher power, right? And again, if you have to grab a pillow, right, and hold on tight and just cry it out. Just cry it out. I know for some of us, it may seem like the crying's never going to stop, right? But I guarantee you it will. It will. I don't care if you cry all day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, right? That crying is the release. Your body is releasing some stuff. And you don't want to hold it in because it's going to keep you sick. You have to release it. You got to let it go, right? I mean, I don't want you to stay there forever. But don't deny your feelings. You can also write it down. Write about it. Your assignments, right? Yes, I'm telling you what worked for me. During that pandemic, I wrote a whole book and got it published. You know, sometimes we have to go through that cleansing of the spirit, right? There's a lot of toxins in this world that seem to find its way inside of us, right? A lot of toxins in the world. And we talked about this, right? That's the purpose of this journey. We need to guys, I'm in my 50s, right? And I just kind of drooled a little bit on myself. Not a lot, but I felt it. Anyway, so the purpose of this, right, is so that I can help you guys pluck out all those toxins, We're going to get rid of all that stuff. And it's going to take us a while because depending on your age, depending on your experiences, depending on your environment, it could be a lot of stuff in there. It's going to take some time to dig all that stuff out. You know, like I said, we all have a gift that a higher power put way down deep inside there, and we got to get to it, right? We got to clean up all the stuff that's sitting on top of it, drowning it out. That's the purpose of this. That's the purpose of the assignments that I give you, the purpose of me showing up here every day, showing up not just for me but for you. You know, walking you through that stuff, sharing my journey, giving you guidance. I'm going to tell you what worked for me. And again, I'm in my 50s, so a lot of us aren't there yet. You know, I've been doing this a long time. And as I stated, it's going to take time. It's not a rush. I know we want to get well like that, right? It doesn't happen like that. Especially if you haven't even identified, acknowledged, and addressed what's going on with you. If you haven't gone to them doctors yet, right? And again, even when we go to the doctors and we get our evaluations and we get on treatment and we get on meds, it still takes time for your body to adjust. And just like we clean up all the old trauma, some new stuff done happened along the way. I just don't want anybody to be in a dark place and stay there for too long. Leave me messages. I do respond to my messages. And you know what? So I've been getting 2 notifications. I have 2 notifications, right? I don't know if they're notifications or messages. Somebody's trying to perhaps reach out to me. And usually I can get my messages. But when I click the button that is lit up red telling me that I have 2, I don't know if it's messages or notifications, and when I click it, I can't see anything new. I checked all my messages. I made sure I respond to every comment that was left for me. If there is somebody out there trying to reach me and I'm not getting back to you, please, 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 friend request me on my Facebook page, Jonniebee Hopkins author. Leave me a message there. Those messages I know how to respond to, right? Please be assured that I'm not ignoring comments. When I started doing this, right, I'm dedicated to it. I pay attention. You know, like I said, I don't want anybody to have to suffer in silence due to your mental health disease. I don't want anybody to fall through the cracks, okay? So, I'm going to pick up where we left off, but I'm going to recap what we went over yesterday. I hope you guys are doing well in your writing. For those people who are just joining us, the assignment was to get you some notebooks, get you some pens, okay? You want to start writing about those first relationships ever in your life, right? Which, if I am correct, is mom and dad, okay? The very first relationships. You're going to have one writing about your relationship with mom, and then you're going to have a separate writing with your relationship, regarding your relationship with dad, okay? No amount of writing is too little or too much. We're talking about the first years of that relationship, from toddler to adolescent. We're not talking about as adults, okay? We're trying to make some connections. We're trying to see where the mental health disease aspect could have first come into play. Okay? Um, After writing about your relationship with mom and dad, you're going to move on to writing about your relationship with your siblings. The very beginning, toddler and adolescent years, okay? Right. For those who, for whatever reason, are done writing about relationships with mom and dad and relationships with siblings, maybe you have one sibling, maybe you're an only child, right? You are then going to move on to writing about your relationship with your cousins. Um, from the cousins, when we're done with that, you know, and when I say cousins, please include aunties and uncles. How was your relationship like with your aunts and uncles, the cousins? Because when you were a toddler or adolescent, right? Sometimes you would go visit your cousins, right? But in coming in contact with your cousin who lived with their parents, you have had to have had some interaction with those aunts and uncles, right? The parents of your cousins, right? We're talking adolescent years, toddler adolescent years, okay? Um, when you're done with that, you're going to move on to your relationship with the other children in your immediate neighborhood. When you would come home from school, you'd finish your homework or whatever, however your family guidelines were, right? You went outside after school to play with some of the neighborhood children, right? You're going to write about that stuff. Did you have any connections with the children in your neighborhood? Were you able to make friends with the children in your neighborhood? Was those relationships healthy? Like, what did you guys do when you were together? Yeah. So you guys should not be done writing. You should still be going. And I'm going to stay in touch with you on that topic, giving you illustrations of what it was like for me. Again, as I stated, right? Sometimes when we start writing, right, about one memory, right, it could spark another memory that you're not even aware of. So that's why it is so important for you to be really accurate, paying attention to detail. We're not just sharing about memories that may come up as we're writing. We're not just talking about the negative experiences that you might have encountered. I want you to write the good stuff too, right? I need it all, good and bad. You're going to write, okay? So yesterday, right, we actually went back to Wednesday because today is Friday, and I had a script written out for Wednesday, but for whatever reason, I didn't go over that script. I think I went on to Thursday's script and then Friday. Well, today's Friday. So I did go over Thursday's script, but I also had to jump back to Wednesday because we had got off track somewhere and I had to go back, okay? So yesterday we went over Wednesday's script, which was how people respond to people with mental health diseases, right? And I told you guys a story. I ended with a story. And I didn't have time to finish the story, and I kind of left you guys on a cliffhanger, right? Yes. So we're going to finish that story. Oh my goodness. So I was telling you guys how I am a recovering addict in recovery in treatment. I have 18 years clean. March 11, 2007 is my clean date. And I was telling you guys a little bit about that program, like what it is, what we do, um, about the many different activities that comes with being a member of that program. We was talking about a convention, right? I told you guys what a convention is and everything that comes with the convention, all the many different activities, um, people in recovery from all over the world showing up, people renting hotel rooms in that hotel that the convention is being held at, to the point the hotel may be sold out. So then you have people renting hotel rooms in other hotels in close proximity to the hotel that the convention was being held at. So a lot of exciting things going on there. Yeah. So anyway, I was telling you guys about how the convention happened to be in my hometown, Boston, Mass, and I went and picked up my dad to bring him to that convention. And that woman, right? Oh, she gets under my skin. Oh, I told you guys, I am in a state of wellness in regards to my mental health, right? And I did a lot of work on myself, addressing the childhood trauma, addressing the disease of addiction, addressing my mental health disease. But stuff continues to happen. Just because we heal from stuff from the past, right? Doesn't mean new stuff don't arise that we have to deal with, right? In a healthy way. In a healthy way. Not the way you know how to handle things from back in them neighborhoods. We're not back in them neighborhoods. We're in the real world now, right? People go to jail. You better watch your actions. Don't have your actions take you to prison. I've never been there as an adult, but I ain't trying to go either. We're not doing that, right? We can't have people trigger us, right? And put us in a place where cause and effect could occur, right? Anyway. So where I left off was that I told you guys after my story, I never seen that woman or her husband again, right? I realized that some people, for whatever reason, can be so hurtful towards others. And maybe it had nothing to do with me at all, just because the harm was unintentional, does not mean the injury did not occur. I carried this thing inside of me for many years to come, okay? Sometimes we get injured by people while we are trying to address our illnesses and get better. We don't always walk around with scars from our childhood. Some scars are fresh and new. Letting go does not mean forgetting, right? You don't want to hold on to a lot of stuff because it can make you sick inside, right? But I'm going to tell you, when you let it go, right, you can't forget. Because if you forget your lesson. What did you learn from it? What did you get out of it? I told you there's good and bad in everything, right? Even those bad experiences that we've encountered, right? We learned some things. We got something positive out of it. I know for me as a child, it was my survival skills. Some of those bad experiences taught me survival skills. And while I don't need those survival skills anymore today, those survival skills carried me through some more stuff to come. Yes. I don't care what situation you're in. You better pay attention. You better walk out of there with something of value that you can use another day, another time, right? This is just one account of the many harmful encounters I had encountered along my journey of mental health awareness to mental health wellness. Although these things affect how I view the world around me, it may from time to time change my perspective regarding people, places, and things that cause me to remove myself and put up that wall between me and the world. I continue to educate myself, realize that I may not be able to control what other people say and do. I can only control what I say and do in response to the hurtful things. And I find other places, safer places, to continue to heal and grow. As I stated, I made the decision to remove myself from my program. I do not attend my program. I do not attend any of the activities in that program. I do continue to maintain my recovery and my wellness regarding active street drugs. Like I said, I have 18 years clean. I have a network of women that I met in my program after many years of trial and error. There was some things that took place in my program that shaped how I seen myself, that shaped how I felt about myself, that gave me a different perspective of that program, that caused me to make a decision to maintain my mental health, okay? And like I said, not everybody in that program are harmful people. But this is just my experience. It doesn't mean everybody's going to have the same experience. I do not want to deter anybody from going to that program and getting the help that they need. It is more important to your well-being. Just when you go, focus on what you're going in there for. I came into the program at a young age. I was in my 20s when I came into that program. When I lived at home in Boston, as I told you guys, my dad also is in that program. So when I first went into that program in my 20s, I was under my dad. But eventually I moved out of Boston. I moved to another state. So I wasn't under my dad's protection anymore. I had to fend for myself. I lived in that other state for like 10 years, and then I relocated here to Rhode Island. Again, my dad is not in the program out here. So again, I had to fend for myself, right? We learn, we grow. The more experiences we have, the more encounters we have with people, we learn from those experiences, both good and bad. And we just keep going. You just keep going. Like, whether you're in that program or not, right? It doesn't matter where you go. You are going to encounter some people who may not be in a healthy state of mind. With age and experiences, I learned to avoid some people. Like I said, I have a lot of friends, both male and female, from that program. Even though I don't attend that program, I will meet up with them at the movies. Sometimes me and some of my girlfriends from that program, we go to the club together in groups. We don't drink, we don't smoke, we don't do anything. We enjoy going out, we enjoy listening to music, and we enjoy dancing, and we enjoy getting dressed up and going out. Like, we're in recovery, we're not dead. So yes, but by going in numbers, right, it guarantees your safety. Like, you're going out to learn how to have a good time without having to drink or smoke pot or do any other drugs. Life goes on, right? Beyond recovery, life goes on. And that program taught me that, like, how to be safe in the world around me, how to be more careful and selective of the people I let in close to me. So I did get what I needed out that program. Like I said, it does work. I have 18 years clean and counting. And that is so important because of my mental health. Like, I take mental health meds. And like I said, when you are on prescription mental health meds, it does not mix with street drugs. You will die. So depending on how serious you are about getting better, you're going to do what it takes. You're going to do what's required. You're going to do what is necessary. Even if you get hurt along the way. So anyway, which is why I decided to do this. Advocating for mental health awareness, mental health wellness tied to education on a social media platform from the safety and the comforts of my own home. Trying to build a community of people to join me. Yes, there are many doctors, there are many providers, there are many therapists, there are many counselors, there are many psychiatrists, right? And they even have those online therapy sessions, right? But you have to have insurance in place because those online services are not free. As I told you, everything is about money, right? But I know what it's like to be a mental health patient, not have money to get the services I need. And I even went the free care aspect. I told you what happened to me over at Memorial Hospital when in the middle of a health crisis, and I went to the free clinic for mental health patients at Memorial Hospital. They left me sitting in that waiting room for an hour. Yeah. And I walked out, right? And thank God I didn't go home and hurt myself. So that is why I am here trying to do what I do. Like I said, if you happen to come by my YouTube page, share, hit subscribe. Get those numbers up. Let social media know that there is a place on social media that people can go to that doesn't require any form of payment, any form of insurance, and still get the help they need in safety and without judgment. When I tell you I'm here to teach, I've been doing this a long time. Anyway, I have to remember that I am not the only one in the world with the mental health disease or other illnesses in regards to physical and mental health conditions. By having this mentality, it allows me to extend grace in the hopes that I too will receive grace when I need it. Um, it frees me from being attached to things that just don't belong to me. Um, Not always making me feel responsible for other people's actions, and being at peace with the outcome. By doing that, right, it allows me to move on ahead in my life, thanking God for being open to learning. I have to remain open to learning if I'm going to continue to teach, right? I mean, we are never arrived. Nobody knows everything. Um, oh, guys, I want to share this with you. We're closing out for the week, so you guys are still writing. Um, I have given you information in regards to why the assignment, why I have you writing, where I plan on going and guiding you to with that assignment, getting you in touch with some stuff that you may not have yet identified, acknowledged, or addressed. Again, real quick, I told you guys from time to time we're going to go over some symptoms, okay? And again, if you have the aspect of the disease of addiction, a lot of these symptoms could be tied to your active addiction. You must get yourself in a program, get in treatment, address the disease of addiction aspect thoroughly before we can even begin to start looking at if some of the signs and symptoms are tied to a mental health condition, right? Because if you are having signs and symptoms, it could be stemming from something else. So we need to first eliminate that something else. If you start to go into treatment and you start to address the aspect of the disease of addiction, you have arrested your disease of addiction. And what that means is arrested it is, like I said, we are never cured. We're never cured. Okay? It doesn't just go away. But by being in treatment and addressing it, right, we're going to learn healthier lifestyles. We're going to learn how to make healthier choices. Being in that program is going to teach you a lot of stuff, okay? And if you find that you have been in recovery for some time and you are still having some signs and symptoms that seems to be disturbing your life, then we could start taking a look into to see if it is stemming from the mental health disease aspect of it. For people who do not have the aspect of active addiction, signs and symptoms: shortness of breath, changes in sleeping patterns, either sleeping too much, too little, or not sleeping at all, or sleeping all the time. Changes in eating habits. Are you eating every day? Do you even have an appetite? Are you eating too much? Are you eating too little? Or are you not eating at all? Crying a lot. Do you find yourself crying more than what is normal? Racing thoughts. And I share this stuff with you guys, and I give you illustrations um, of what it's like for me when I have racing thoughts, right? We have all the good information on one side, we have all the harmful information on another side, and it's all going by so fast. So fast, right? And when that happens, right? I don't know about you guys, but I panic. It scares me because I have no control over this stuff, right? And there was a time when the harmful information was speaking so loud that it was drowning out the good information. You know, I all I could hear was the harmful thoughts at one time, right? Yeah. And of course, like I said, since I've been on treatment and on meds for more than 30 years, I don't have them harmful thoughts anymore, right? And I'm talking like it wasn't just once in a while that I would get these harmful thoughts, right? I'm laughing, but it's not funny. You guys know I'm just weird like that, right? Some of us may even be acting out on those harmful thoughts, right? We're talking about signs and symptoms. How about, you know, depending on what your diagnosis is, right? You could be flying all around the place, can't sit still, just going, right? Or how about moving too slow, dragging, having a foggy brain? You can't focus, you can't think, you can't remember where you put stuff. Again, I'm laughing, but like I said, I've been doing this a long time, and you know, there was a time when I did cry all the time. I cried all the time. If I even think about it now, I'll probably start crying. It was bad. It was bad. Racing thoughts, heart palpitations, which is basically shortness of breath, feeling like you're going to have a heart attack. I told you guys, I ended up running to the emergency room a time or two thinking I was having a heart attack. Boy, was I embarrassed when they told me it was anxiety. Yes. Yes, anxiety can do that. It feels like a heart attack. You're having shortness of breath. You can't breathe. Now you're in panic mode because you're trying to figure out why you're having shortness of breath, why you can't breathe, why your heart is racing so fast that sometimes it feels like it's skipping a beat. And I would even like work myself up so bad about it that I started to believe I had a pain shooting down my arm, signs of a heart attack. Yes. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. I had to train myself to even be able to recognize if I was having a panic attack. Like I had to like tell myself, all right, Johnny, you done already been through this path so many times. You know it's your anxiety. There was a time, right? I got so scared. I thought if I just lay in bed and don't move, right, that my heart would slow down from racing, that I wouldn't actually have a heart attack. And I would lay in bed and try not to move, try not to eat, try not to drink, right? By 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm jumping out of my bed and getting dressed and heading to the ER thinking I'm in the middle of a heart attack. That's how bad my anxiety works sometimes. I haven't done that in a long time because, again, too, it depends on your environmental stuff, right? If you're going through some stuff, things around you in your environment that you can't control, it will trigger. It will trigger you. Just want to make sure I get them all. Racing thoughts. Shortness of breath, Heart palpitations, forgetfulness, can't focus, can't remember things, drifting off, checking out. Yeah, did that too. Would check right out and lose time because I'd be up in there stuck. I'm touching on some of my symptoms. Oh, because I told you I also had to watch my mom and my sister, right? With my mom, it was the yelling, the screaming over little tiny minimal things, right? She would be up here yelling, screaming. I'd be like, oh my God. Like, it's not that serious, Mom. And this is only because I've been on treatment that I've been able to pay attention when my mother starts getting triggered or having signs and symptoms. Yelling, screaming. I'm not going to say who, but somebody in my family very close to me. I've seen that person have a total meltdown. Total meltdown. I'm talking a grown person. I'm talking yelling, screaming, sweating, throwing things, kicking things. Like a toddler having a temper tantrum. But it's a grown person, right? That's some scary stuff. That's scary when you see people act like that. I'm laughing, but it's not funny. There is nothing funny about it. So those are signs and symptoms. And how about causes and effect, right? Environmental changes. Changes in circumstance. Causes and effect. Childhood trauma, unaddressed, unidentified, unacknowledged, unaddressed. Things we're not even in touch with. Triggering us. Just because you don't know that a trauma happened, right, doesn't mean you're not acting out on it. Look at your life. If you can't keep a job, if you can't get a job, keep a job. You know, you're in and out of jail. You're still out there being an adult in your 40s and 50s, hustling to make a living. These are the signs and symptoms. I'm telling you, cause and effect. So yeah, I told you guys, every now and then in our sessions, like once or twice a week, we're going to check in on that stuff, okay? I want people to have the information. If any of these things apply to you, you need to take a look at that stuff. You know, you have to be able to identify, acknowledge, and address by going to your doctors and having those conversations. Yeah. And also, again, on my YouTube page, you guys, there is some information thrown in with the pictures. That's the only way I could get it in. I'm not tech savvy. I don't really know how to set up my YouTube page I wanted to make it visible up top, right? But for now, we have my book up there because that is what sparked this whole thing for me. But I did include information regarding mental health diseases as far as textbooks, researches, risk factors, 800 numbers if you are in a dark space and you feel like harming yourself. Number one thing, call 911. Play that tape out. If I do this, right? Reason with yourself. Don't listen to them bad thoughts. Once you are in a place where you have harmed yourself, right? You tend to change your minds about wanting to die. I know, I've been there. I was lucky enough to be able to get up because I had to change my mind. But some of us don't have that opportunity. Once you cause harm to yourself, some of us don't get back up. There is no coming back from that stuff. So we need to jump in there, right? And give you some knowledge and information on how to keep yourself safe, right? But if you ever find yourself in a situation where you might have caused harm to yourself, right? Call 911. Please do not wait. Like I said, there's information on my YouTube page about 1-800 numbers. Write that information down and stick it to your fridge where you can see it. So you don't have to go looking for it, right? Number one number that should come to mind, though, is 911, right? And sometimes, right, we get in a place where our mind freezes. You ever have your mind freeze and you don't know what to do? You can't think, you can't function, you can't focus. It's like your mind just is stuck. It freezes, right? Another suggestion I gave you was to pull in a friend, somebody you trust, to watch over you in those times of mental health crisis. I told you I had to have my mom come stay with me one time, and she couldn't take it. She couldn't take it. You know, when people see a person in a mental health crisis, right, and they don't really understand mental health or how it works, it can be pretty scary for our loved ones to see what we go through. I am so happy that I am in a better place now. Even if it is just for today, because we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, right? Like I said, some people, I've heard some people go through a depressed state where they may be depressed for like a few weeks or a couple months, and somehow they come out of it, right? For some of us, we don't come out of that stuff. And that could be due to the physical aspect of our mental health disease. Remember, I told you guys, right? If you ever sustained a blow to your head in your adolescent years, if you ever got into a really bad car accident that caused the soft tissue under the skeletal bone to shift, or how about those neurotransmitters, the chemicals in your brain? Are they working properly? Are they producing enough of the chemicals needed for your brain to sustain itself? There are many physical aspects to having a mental health disease. It's not just traumatic experiences. It's not just environmental factors. It's not the type of sadness or grieving period or depression you may go through if you lose a husband you've been with for a long time, or a loved one, and all of a sudden you get bumped into depression. I'm talking about people who have had depression most of their life. For some of us, we can get better, but we're never going to be cured. Not unless some miracle happens, right? We don't know. Right? We don't know, right? Unfortunately, right, like I said, a lot of us didn't make it this far. I'm very grateful that I'm still here. I am so grateful I'm still here. Because I know a lot of people with the mental health disease aspect, they didn't make it. So if you're still here, kudos to you. Give yourself a break. Stop being so hard on yourself, right? Anyway, guys, we got like 15 minutes left. I did have something planned for today, but I think I'm going to save it till next week, guys. You know what? I think I'm actually going to give you guys a little piece of that information and probably leave you guys on a cliffhanger again, right? So, today, I had to contact a lawyer, right? Because of the book that I wrote, the second book that I'm going to have published following my first book, and a third book coming after that. So my books are going to generate income. It's going to generate, I get royalties. There is even talk about my book possibly being able to be made into a movie. So I had to call a lawyer to start getting some papers together as far as when my time does come, because we're not meant to stay on this earth forever, right? I don't want my daughter to have to wait for my assets to be held up while it goes through probate court, okay? And if you guys don't know what that means, right? If you have assets, if you have property, if you have money, whatever you have when you leave this earth, right? You would like it to be able to go to your children, right? And technically it does. However, your children won't see that money for a long time because that stuff has to go through probate court, and that could take a long time, right? So you have wills, and then you have, even in a will, right? If you have a will, it still can take a long time. So I need to do a trust, right? And what that is, a trust is so that my daughter will not have to wait for anything of mine to go through probate court, which could possibly take years, right? By filling out a trust with a lawyer, right? When I do pass, everything automatically goes to my daughter. So anyway, I dealt with this lawyer before, so he knows me, right? I had a case and I won my case, and he handled that lawyer handled my case, so he knows me. I was telling him about the book I wrote and like why I needed to do a trust, blah blah blah. This man said to me that parenting class should be a part of the educational curriculum for high schoolers. Now I'm going to tell you what the problem is with that. People and their bright ideas, right? These lawyers, these people with degrees, got all this education, right? Hey, he tried to come up with a solution, right? So his purpose in telling me that parenting class should be a part of the educational curriculum, right? The problem with that is, as I told him, there's a lot of adolescents, right, who never even finish middle school, who don't even make it to high school. So even if parenting skills was a part of the educational curriculum for high schoolers, there's a lot of people who should be in high school but are not in high school for whatever reason that are not going to be exposed to that class. And then he said to me, right, that I should do my research. That I should do my research. The only thing I could say to that man was, you need to read my book. Before you start telling me that I need to do some research and giving me solutions to some of the problems that young adults have while having young children, right? As I stated, I don't think my sister made it to high school. And that's even if she even finished middle school, right? Like, even if you add parenting skills class to the curriculum now, what about those people that just finished grade school? They're young adults, 20, 21, 22, just finished high school, right? How does that parenting skill class added to the educational curriculum gonna benefit them? How about the young adults that are like 23, 24, 25 now that already have young children? This is a well-educated lawyer. Got a degree, right? I'm just thinking. I just think it's so sad for some people, right? You can be well educated in one area, right? Some people, they go to school, right? And when they go to school, they have a focus, right? This is what they want to be in life. So all their studies, right, surround that one title, that one profession. You might be brilliant as a lawyer, but because you focused on becoming a lawyer, you missed out on a whole lot of other stuff. Right? Again, I'm just thinking. There's a lot of people in the world like that. Got these skills, got these degrees, got these titles, think they know it all. They got all the solutions, they got all the answers, right? How about the fact that, right, like I told him, he needs to read my book because I was taken from my mom. First of all, I never finished middle school, right? And when the state came and took me from my mother, they put me in protective custody, right? And I wasn't able to go to school because the state was more concerned about my safety than there was my education. I didn't go to high school. So how would that parenting skill class have benefited me? I mean, sure, when I became an adult and I was able to leave custody of the state, I did go back to school and get my GED. But as we all know, the educational curriculum when going for your GED is targeted and focused on several subjects, right, to help you pass and get the credits that you need to be able to pass the grade 12 level. It is not the same education that you get in an educational curriculum in a normal educational institution setting. It is not the same. Are they going to add parenting class to people that are going for their GEDs? Like, I couldn't believe this lawyer said that to me. And yes, I furthered my education beyond my GED. I went to a 2-year college, again, focused on what I was getting my degree for. My other education comes from taking other courses, other classes, reading a lot. I read a lot in my life. All kind of different stuff. I went to school for business, accounting. I took anatomy, physiology, behavioral health. Like, you cannot focus your learning in one area. You cannot do it because you're missing out on so much, right? How about the fact that, right, there's different kinds of education. You have education that you get from an educational institution, right? You take courses, you read books, you get that degree, you get that title, right? What people don't realize, right, is just because people don't finish middle school or don't finish high school or further their education, right, there's other lessons to be taught in this world on other educational platforms, right? Such as the streets. What about street smarts? That should count for something, right? The streets will educate you too. It may not be the textbook education, right? It's a different type of education. I've had to learn on platforms most people wouldn't even dare to go to. They wouldn't even dare. People see a pretty face, right? And they think they know me, right? But when I start talking, oh, you guys, there is so much more. So much more I can teach this world. But time's up. So you guys, I hope I did justice today and my teachings. I hope you come back on Monday and continue to follow my journey. Let me lead you. Let me guide you from mental health awareness to mental health wellness tied to education. Be well over the weekend. Be easy on yourself. Be safe. Take some time to enjoy what is in front of you today, because life has a way of changing, right? And it doesn't always guarantee that it's going to change for the better. It could get worse. For those people that may be in those dark places, please, please keep in mind cause and effect. If I do this, right? We have to reason with ourselves sometimes. You have to tell yourself, no, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, argue with yourself. Call a friend. Call 911 if you have to. Remember, there is no coming back. Not all of us are given chances. Like, you might have had a second chance, a third chance. You don't know when them chances are going to run out. Please do not gamble with your life. Know that it gets better. You just got to hold on. I assure you, it's going to get better. I hope I see you guys again on Monday. Please share. Hit subscribe. Get my numbers up. I know there's a need for this service. This is where my higher power leads me. And this is where I'm going to stay until he tells me it's time to go. Enjoy your weekend, guys. Bye.